Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen. Today we got Soul here with us for a quick first impressions / review video. Now I know a lot of you guys like to watch other YouTubers or streamers that do content coverage on new things in SMITE, so this is more for those of you who don't really understand Soul's kit or just kind of want my opinion about Soul, as well as I would have done this video earlier when the PTS first came out, but there were some bugs with Soul, and one in which he would not stop talking if your passive meter was filled up and you're throwing basic attacks. It would drive you crazy. So let's go ahead and start with the passive. Now, Soul gangs heat by throwing basic attacks and of course them landing, and as well she gangs heat from her abilities. Most importantly, her one gives her up to 80% heat, which is crazy, and as well as I might as well say this now, this is the public test server, of course, and things are subject to change for the future as far as scalings and things like that. Now back to her passive. Once you have 100% heat, she gains 50% more damage on her basic attacks, which is huge, as well as you gain plus 1% magical power and 1% attack speed for every 3% of heat, which is as well as a lot. So she has a lot of scaling built into her passive, which is fairly easy to build up. Now let's go into her one next, is her Radiance. Now she just kind of drops this down, it doesn't follow her. I first thought it followed her, but it actually doesn't. So as soon as you place that down, it does a damage over time effect. It's kind of slow though, so it's a damage every 1 second, so it's not the most reliable source of damage. Of course, maybe if you can stun targets with your 3 or other forms of CC, then you can apply some damage on here and probably get some Gem of Isolation stacks or Spear of Maga stacks, as well as it does do a healing factor for you. Again, these are subject to change, but it's only 5% up to 25% of your missing health. Not total health, it is missing health over 5 seconds, which is not the largest time span, is not the shortest either. So it's kind of mediocre there. Now next, her Stellar Burst. It's basically it's a stimlet, as it says here. So for me, I hit the 2 key, and then boom, your next basic attack you hit, and it doesn't have to land on an exactly target. We can see here, you can just throw it on anywhere and it'll apply. So it does impact, like as soon as it impacts a target, it does damage, as well as it expands, and when it fully expands, it retracts, and then it does damage again, as well as apply a slow. So you can use this to kind of go after a target, chase them down, slow them with this, and continue your ability change or basic attacks, whatever. Now next, since she does do quite a bit of basic attack damage, sort of like a Kronos, where it's kind of half ability and half basic attack damage, she does have sort of a built-in haste fatalis, if you will. So you pop this, and then it says here you ignore all movement penalties. So you can throw your basic attacks while having your full movement speed. As well, she leaves a trail of fire behind her that does a damage over time effect. This one's actually faster. Damage every half a second. So again, you can easily apply Gem of Isolation stacks or Spear of Maga stacks, whichever one you prefer. And then when the time is up, it then detonates for a 1.5 second stun, which is fairly nice. And then you go into this fiery orb form, which I can show you. So you kind of like, write your name or something in it, and then boom, your orb. Now you can cancel this early by right clicking, but when you're in that orb form, you take no damage, you're not targetable, things like that. You have no collision, so you can move through minions, you can move through gods, things like that. So it's fairly nice, but to kind of use this as it ages, I feel like it'd be a little bit harder, because I can see it's a quite long duration. You can't exactly time this correctly to prevent a Kraken from popping out and damaging you, if that kind of makes sense. So it's not a reliable aegis, but if you do able to get it off, then it's really good. So let's take a quick look on what it looks like to throw basic attacks. As you can see here, I'm just really fast and no movement penalty. Then finally, her ultimate, Supernova. It's not the most amazing ultimate. It looks kind of cool. So basically, it has a targeter similar to Amuzan Cobb's Honey. So hit 4 here, and you can kind of paint the ground with these areas in which your Supernova will strike. And it does knock back the first time it hits a single target. Now, if you land multiple Supernova strikes on the same target, it does reduce damage, and of course you will not continue to knock them back. That'd be actually kind of crazy. So, the knockback, soft CC with her. She has a stun with the 3, so some mediocre crowd control effects with her, as well as it does give you some heat. Now, cooldown reductions, that could be useful. Maybe a Chronos Pennant, maybe cooldown boots. Her cooldowns are kind of lengthy, but at the same time, you're also doing fairly good damage with her basic attack. So let's take a quick look on what it looks like to have your full passive meter Alright, ready. Let's start by R1 and then R2. As you see, it was really fast to build up her passive meter, of course, with our abilities being at max rank. And we do a solid 400 damage across the board. There's no attack chain, things like that. But if you look on the lower left hand corner, we can see here our magical power is actually insane, 834 magical power, as well as a really nice 1.94 attack speed. I only have demonic grip. You can see my build on the lower right. We have demonic grip, spear magus, Rajahudi, Book of Thoth, Soul Reaver, and of course the pinned boots. So some cool items that would be really like a core item for her. Definitely Spear of Magus. I feel like you can easily apply the stacks, get the most use out of it. You need penetration to do any type of damage in Smite. Demonic Grip can definitely come in handy with the attack speed, and of course more shredding of magical protections with the passive, as well as Rajahudi. Obviously that's a core item for all mages. Pin boots. Now the boots, they got changed again with this patch real quick here. They took the mana off the Magi boots and they moved it to the Shoes of Focus, but they added +5 power to the Shoes of Magi. That's a quick change to the boots there. And if you want just a really ridiculous amount of magical power, you can do what I did. You can go into Book of Thoth as your stacking item and then go into Soul Reaver. Or if you want to do a little bit more damage with your basic attacks, you can go into the Polynomicon. Since it does have a only 60% magical power as your additional damage with your passive, if you were to have something like a stack and item, things like that, and of course with your passive you build up tons of magical power, and that makes this item actually worth it compared to other mages where they can't really get their magical power too high. So this is definitely an optional item for Soul. So that pretty much wraps up what I personally think of her. I actually like her. Mages are my favorite class. They're my most played class in Smite. So this is definitely a goddess that I feel like I can really enjoy playing. Pretty unique playstyle. We don't really have too many ADC type mages, things like that. So really cool goddess. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think of Soul in the comment section below. And yeah, peace.